lace-up brown boots. You can also choose to wear a small flat cap hat. A small flat cap hat with cogs sewn into the side for aesthetics. With your hair undone, wearing a white shirt button up with your frilly necktie, as well as a long cotton green skirt that is bunched up on one side with your holsters for your various tools, your sextant, your compass, your flag in a veil, with white colored pantyhose and tall heeled boots that lace up all the way to your knee. You could also choose to wear a combination of any of these outfits that you would like. Or today, actually, is going to be the day of your junior year of your studies, and as such, you must complete an adventure prior to graduation. This adventure is normally undertaken by junior year students who are potential airship pilots like you. The adventure could be anywhere that you want. It could be to the desert, to the sea, You have 2 minutes to get to your professor's office. So you rush through the hallways of the university, barely bumping into a girl with a stack of papers in her hands, apologizing profusely. You head to your professor's office. When you reach him, he is standing behind his desk, tapping his foot and staring at his watch with a scowl on his face. When you open the door, he regards you with a look of distaste mixed with pride, as he knows that this is the day that you will be setting off on your own adventure. But he dislikes tardiness more than anything in the world, and you were 1 whole minute late. He chastises you softly for this, but smiles and pats your shoulder warmly. He takes you into his laboratory and offers you something that no other student has been offered thus far in the university. You see, this professor has a very unique and truly inspiring talent, making clockwork creatures. These creatures are said to be given to the students that, once graduated, would help them through whatever adventure they may go on. You have yet to graduate, but your professor sees that you are someone who he knows would take care of the young charge. He offers you a choice. Your professor has a penchant for making clockwork creatures who are deemed fantastical. And since you are an airship pilot, he deemed it necessary to create one for you that has wings, so that it could never be pushed off the edge of the airship. The first one was a large golden dragon made completely out of gilded metal. The cogs work in sync with each other, smoothly and in tandem, to let the creature fly, soar, and even breathe fire. This gilded dragon saddles up to you and puts its snout in your hand. Your professor explains that this choice would be for someone who was looking for an animal to aid them in battle, an animal that would be helpful in perilous situations, and who is looking for a pet that is extremely loyal and forthcoming. You can hear the dragon's voice in your mind, whispering that he would like to go on an adventure with you. This is the only clockwork creature that can, in some capacity, speak, and only can speak to the person in their mind, not aloud. The second choice is a silvery griffin. The griffin has the head of an eagle with the body of a lion. It is large, glistening, and like the dragon, the cogs work delicately in fashion. The griffin is a prideful animal, but is incredible at navigation and knows exactly where to find treasure. It would be an animal that would be helpful if you need any assistance regarding navigation, treasure hunting, or something to cuddle up to. Remarkably, the way that the professor made this animal, the feathers still resemble feathers on its long body, and it is slightly more cuddly than the clockwork dragon. It cannot speak in your mind, but it coos softly and rests its head upon your head, rests its chin upon your head, trying to snuggle closer. The third and final choice you have is a floating disc with a rounded top, resembling a crude version of what people think a UFO would look like. This is not technically a creature, your professor explains, but if you are looking for something that will help you with analysis, scholarly pursuits, mathematical equations, and in general help you with more scholarly pursuits, this would be the correct choice. I am calling it a UFO. The cogs in this are all brass, shining similarly to those of the griffin and the dragon. However, this one doesn't make quite as much sense as there are no wings attached, but it still hovers. It would be something that would be able to take notes for you and to relay analysis and code for you as you journey through your adventure. This would be remarkably useful for someone who was attempting to write and expand your knowledge of certain aspects of the world, like taking nature notes or figuring out the exact size and orbit of the Earth, or whatever have you. It again does not speak and takes notes and prints them out for you as you go along. So you are presented with these three choices: the dragon, the griffin, or the UFO. You make your decision and it flies behind you, you have gone to class with stop you and ask about how you had obtained such a creature from your professor prior to graduating, and you cannot help but feel a sense of pride at the things that you have completed through your academic career. Your creature can sense your pride, and if it has a head, lifts it up just a little bit higher, knowing that it somehow was the reason for this emotion. You walk along the docks of the London River Thames. When you come to where you were supposed to be as well, your second professor stands there, and you look up to see your brand new ship. This airship has a gleaming silver and red balloon. Balloon is maybe not the right word, but you know what zephyrs look like. The oblong shape, rounded sphere shape, filled with steam. The inside, or the bottom of the ship, contains a wooden ship looking like a water ship. It's painted with golden trim, and all of the ropes and sails and all those things look pristinely in order. And you cannot help but stare up at the beautiful, gorgeous airship you are to be the captain of, and cannot believe your luck for being here today on this day. The professor comes over to you and asks you if you have a name picked out for the airship. You consider the choices for a moment. You may name it whatever you wish, from a silly, goofy name to a name that evokes pride, to a name after a loved one. Whatever your choice, the name is quickly marked on the side of the airship and is ready to take off to whatever skies you wish. Upon entering the ship's deck, you start to meet some of your crew. The first person to catch your eye isn't really a person. It is a large mechanical suit with gleaming silvery cogs, blustery steam coming out of valves in its mechanisms, and you knew if you stood a little too close to this mechanical suit, you may get burned slightly by the steam evaporating from its valves. But within the glass pane at the very top of the suit, which is about eye level to you, you see a tiny squirrel. The squirrel is maneuvering the suit to do whatever it wishes to do. When it sees you, it reaches up with its mechanical arm, takes hold of its hat that is resting atop its glass pane head, and dips it else to be doing most of the legwork of getting the sails and ropes and all those things ready to take off. Despite being rather small, she is also extremely strong from what you're seeing. She looks very normal in every sense of the word, but for the fact that she has extremely strong arms and legs, and you cannot help but stop and stare at her physical prowess as she does most of the physical work that is required of the ship. You then see a large door pop open and see a man. You can only see the back of him for now, carrying a tray of food and calling all the crewmates to come grab something before they head off. When he turns around and looks at you, you see that he only has one eye. This large, white, pale man with only an apron and pants is a Cyclops, and he is also your chef. Your crew starts to assemble before you as they are waiting orders to take off. Some of them come over and comment on your creatures, and you decide that you will get to know them better during your travels, and you already feel a sense of trust in the air from these crewmates. You see that they already know the ship better than you could ever know, and you see that these are not rookies by any means. These are people who have been on ships quite a lot, which makes you feel better as this is your first go around. These people look at you for orders. You bring out your map that you have been given by your professors, and you look and you decide where to go. You can either go towards the desert, where the air will be much less humid, drier, but also much hotter. The creatures that live in the desert are creatures that can withstand extreme heat, fire, and others. They can be dangerous at times, but you have been curious about the creatures that live there for a while now. You can also head out towards the sea, where leviathans, krakens, and other extreme animals of large size could come into contact with your ship, as well as enormous storms, and the weather would be incredibly challenging to navigate compared to the desert. You can also head over forests where legends and lore have told you that Baba Yaga and sphinxes and other creatures of lore tend to make themselves hidden in its dark and gnarly briars and branches. It would be the safest route in terms of weather, but it would be the most mysterious, as few people can tell you what is actually in the large forest at the edge of the kingdom. If you would like to write an academic paper about creatures and such, just picking a direction like north, you may find yourself at the edge of the world. Although, if mystery is your game, you may find that curiosity killed the cat. But sometimes the cat survives and discovers something completely and wonderfully new that no one has ever seen or heard of before. You can discover civilizations and cultures and land masses, islands, seas. Maybe if you fly enough, you could discover different planets. Who knows what you may discover on your journeys? So, you make your decision. You decide exactly where to go and then for exactly how long. You tell your ship's first mate, the squirrel, to set sail. The ship slowly lifts up and out of the Thames. The anchor is pulled up, and you look down to see the tips of all the spires and buildings of the city that you have come to believe is the best city in the world. But now that you are up here flying over it, you cannot wait to see a city that is perhaps even greater and grander than the one you are leaving behind. You see Big Ben floating in the distance, chiming, and then you break through the first canopy of clouds. You feel its fog in your hair. You feel the breeze, and you stand on the brow of your ship with your arms wide open, ready and waiting for whatever comes next. This adventure is yours, and yours alone. Your crew has your back, and you are going. You scream tally-ho at the top of your lungs and feel the fresh air envelop your body, and you are off to parts unknown. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this story. I tried to make it as steampunk